doing the show. Boog, you ain't got no wine? Maria, you got wine or beer?
Me? No, I'm still working. So
I got you. Well,
Just
Tim,
heard her rules.
I got some water. It's in an old forged distillery cup, so
like it.
you
Cheers.
know they don't have to know, man.
It could be moonshine.
Boog's still in recovery.
No, I got some wine coming.
Hey, when I was y'all's age, I could drink like that too. You can't do that in your 50s, man.
Oh no, this is wine. Normally,
Probably in my 30s. I used to be a fishbowl, but now, next day.
yeah, Boog and I we tend to get excited when we hang out. So it got a little crazy last night. Or yesterday, really. It wasn't even night.
Right, that's the thing.
Oh man, listen, welcome back to the Collective Unfiltered. This is our episode 33. You can call it the Jesus episode, Larry Bird episode. Who else was like a fan?
33, Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, Scotty P. I'm sorry. I had his first shoes. That was my first pair of like Nike basketball joints, the Scotty Pippins back in the day. Um, Dang, y'all made me forget what I was saying. But basically, we thank y'all for joining us. If you're watching on volunteerroadshow.com, Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, we appreciate you. Today is going to be really an open conversation, current events, a little bit of sports, and a couple big announcements. So I'm happy. We got Maria Cornelius, hey, in the building. And of course, you know it's Bug Bug. What you got? Tell the people what up.
What's up, y'all? Happy Monday. First and foremost, we got to give a special shout out to our sponsors, Orange Mountain Designs. Our girl Terry Holder holding it down. Just opened up the new store. Go check them out. Just passing tutoring, based out of Miami, but can handle all of your ACT, SAT, and PSAT prep needs, as well as math tutoring. Hound Dogs of Knoxville and Tennessee Tap House. And of course, our guy, Bobby with Volunteer Roadshow.
Absolutely. Maria, man, how was your weekend? Say what's up to the people. Let them know how you're doing, and then we'll get this thing started.
It was a good weekend because I stayed up Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night tracking election results. There's two things I love: sports and politics. So I didn't turn away from any of it. I had one phone with the results and one phone with a calculator, and I'm counting electoral votes. And I mean, I just want to ask what happened to Nevada. This is a state that stays up all night and counts things, and they go to bed and quit counting. I mean, I'm just like, Nevada, what are you doing? You can count. Georgia stayed up and counted every night.
Right.
So I'd just like to know, Nevada, what are you doing? I thought you could count.
They went to the casino, finished counting.
Oh yeah, it was turn up time. That was crazy, and the election was crazy. We're gonna talk about that shortly. I really want to know what is y'all's opinion. I know we don't really talk a lot of politics on here, but we got somebody that loves politics, so we're gonna take advantage of that today.
Absolutely.
What were y'all's thoughts on the election? Good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. You know, this is the collective unfiltered. You're entitled to your opinion. Now, our response, we're also entitled to, but you are more than welcome to put out any comment or question. So obviously Joe Biden won. We all know that. Hopefully, I pray that you know that. And a big part of that is because people were actually casting their votes, like myself. All of us actually on here voted, uh, and you let your voice be heard. So I want to say thank you for every person who stood up for what was right and casted their vote and took the time and stood in lines and all of that. So thank you for the opportunities presented. Uh, Booger Maria, what's your thoughts on the election and how it went down?
I mean, for me, it was, I mean, I was similar to Maria. I was up like every day, like watching it and turning it. I had to step away at times, but it was definitely for me. What was crazy is, of course, like I voted early, and they said, I think something like 99 million early votes. Um, and so it was just crazy to kind of like you said, Maria. So I was up Tuesday. You got some results in, and then but there was still so much just unknown. And so but to literally see the numbers, like for Biden, of course, the way they changed in Pennsylvania and Georgia, like just to see it, like literally just like the way, obviously the pandemic affected a lot of in-person voting. So a lot of people, you know, my mom, she voted early, absentee ballot, just because, you know, she didn't want to have to be around crowds and people and whatnot. So just this, like, to really be present for this election and to be able to see it and how it just every day, like Biden, I mean, when it came to Michigan, or not Michigan, Georgia and Pennsylvania in the end, how he just literally those votes just came in and came in. And when they talk about, you know, when you hear people that like, oh, my vote doesn't really count. Like I'm one of 200 some million people that are voting. Like my one little vote doesn't count. But when it comes down to it at the end, like those little votes counted in Georgia and it flipped it. And so that was really dope. Obviously, I was excited, you know, when Joe Biden, when they finally announced it, and, you know, Kamala Harris, like, I mean, it's just, it's amazing. And it's still a little bit surreal, you know, to have a Black female vice president is really cool. So I was definitely excited.
I want to say Stacey Abrams is an American hero.
Oh my goodness.
What a woman. She lost that governor's race 2 years ago, and she could have, you know, she could have wilted. She could have backed down. She could have gone out of the public eye. She said she took a couple days to regroup. I just saw a lot of Pat Summitt in her because she took a couple days to deal with it, take the loss, and then come back fighting. Stacey Abrams is why Georgia,
absolutely,
somehow, you know, it's not official yet. The vote was the percentage was so low, it triggers an automatic recount in Georgia, which they've still got to do. But she will be the single reason that state flipped blue.
Absolutely.
And I didn't think I would see Georgia flip blue in my lifetime.
Yeah, that's
ever.
big.
So it obviously it's not over yet. None of the votes have to be certified. The electoral college represent if you're the electoral college, I will say, is the most messed up form of election ever, and everybody is seeing that now. But those electors all have to submit their votes, and it's all done at different state level. Of course, Trump is not conceding. His lawyers are filing lawsuits in every state. In fact, they just filed one in Pennsylvania tonight asking for an injunction to prevent Pennsylvania from certifying their own election. And to top it off, they asked for attorney fees. These are not the brightest lawyers in the world filing these lawsuits, but the strategy will be to muck it up as much as you can and see. The goal is to somehow get this before the U.S. Supreme Court because it's been stacked. So
yeah, of course.
While I feel 90% better than I have felt in 4 years, I want to see Joe Biden and Kamala Harris January 20th being inaugurated. And I think that's when I'll finally take a deep breath.
Right.
But yeah. It was an incredible week. I did not think it would be a blowout on either side. This country's too polarized, so I did not expect a decision Tuesday night. Also, several states were not allowed to start counting the mail-in ballots till the day of the election. So that is why the returns were coming in so slowly from so many states. Mm-hmm. And so when it was about 2 o'clock in the morning Tuesday night, when I realized they cannot call Arizona, they cannot call Pennsylvania, they cannot call Georgia. And that's when I started to realize Biden can do this. Mm-hmm. And then when he got Michigan, when he got Wisconsin, mm-hmm. I mean, right now, if Pennsylvania gets certified, what happens in Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada doesn't even matter. But I expect those to go blue also when all is said and done. So I am happy, the happiest I've ever been for Black women. Kamala Harris is, like everybody said, the vice president. Yeah, I've seen the young Black girls with the T-shirts. The vice president looks like me. Yeah. It's a tremendous step forward for this country. I will say one thing, as a lifelong Democrat, to be told that I need to understand the sadness or the points of view of the 70 million people that voted for Trump, I think that's the opposite. You need to come to me and understand me. I don't need to reach out to you. You have rejected me my entire life. And as a white woman, I say that. As a black woman, it's even worse. You tried to eliminate people like me. You tried to send black people back to the Jim Crow era. You had Muslim bans and separation of immigrant children seeking asylum from their parents. I mean, I could go on and on this list. Some of the most unchristian-like behavior I have ever seen. And I am not a believer. I am not a Christian, but I understand the concepts of kindness and grace. And in this case, the kindness and grace needs to come from the other side, because I am tired of extending the olive branch to people. You need to extend it to me and to all the black women and black people. You need to come to us and explain why nothing about Trump was a deal breaker for you. And then we can talk. Yeah. And that's all I'll say about that.
I agree. That's all I'll say. I love it, Maria. Yes, I love that you're on the show tonight. This is going to be great, y'all. Jaimel said, "What's up, ladies? Thank you for joining in." And he voted for Biden, but he doesn't have a problem with Trump contesting. We did it 4 years ago with Al Gore. And then he loves coming.
Yeah, the courts are there. You can contest it. I think there is a difference in how Hillary responded,
right,
and how Mitch McConnell responded, because the next day he sent out a welcome to Trump, and now he's doing everything he can to boost Trump and try to back this effort. And I'll say one more thing about Georgia. You got two. I know none of us here live in Georgia, but you got two Senate races that can determine the Senate.
Yeah,
Georgia's got to do it again.
We got the runoff. Warnock.
Reverend Warnock and John Ossoff. You take those two seats, you get rid of Perdue and Loeffler.
Oh, we need it.
To the WNBA. That is Warnock's campaign, is when they wore his name on their shirts before WNBA games. So if you live in Georgia and you turn 18 before January 5th, you could vote.
Yep.
And if you're eligible now and you didn't vote, you could register now. Go do it. Definitely. Georgia, for young people in Georgia, this is the most important election of your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maria, I was saying, Book lives in Atlanta.
Oh, that's right. You are down there. I forgot you're in North Carolina. That's right. You are in Georgia. So yeah, you got to get back out there and vote again.
Oh, I am.
And you got to get some
ballot. My mom just ordered her ballot today. So no, I'm definitely going to vote for him.
And if you know anybody that didn't, get them registered. Get them to the polls.
Absolutely, because it like you said, it will be very, very important.
Absolutely, y'all still go out and vote. Pay attention. Even if you're not big into politics, you should be big into your future. You should be big into what's not good for you. So just be in the know. Educate yourself. As much as you can. Ask questions. Keep up with things, current events. Go vote. All right, get out there, do your part. Let's change this world for the better. All right.
Absolutely.
Hey, before we lead into, of course, we're going to talk some Tennessee sports, but before we lead into that, man, RIP, couple RIP, sending condolences and prayers to their family and friends. Alex Trebek, Jeopardy, those lives. I grew up watching that.
Me too.
To this day. He was, I didn't obviously know him, but, just the type of entertainer that he was amazing. And then also the biggest loss that would be closest to me recently would be Nancy Darsh. Prayers go out to her family and friends and the whole women's basketball community, because she was huge in women's basketball as far as being a pioneer and a promoter of the game, an educator of the game, a mentor of the game. I had the pleasure of meeting her multiple times, whether it was USA basketball or playing against her in the WNBA or even a circuit. Just very, always a kind lady, always giving me words of wisdom, always encouragement. So, Nancy, thank you for everything that you did for women's basketball in order for me to be able to play. Love you for that, and God bless you and your family.
Most definitely. Um, our beloved Tennessee Vols and Lady Vols.
Oh, is this a RIP prayer for us?
Hmm?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Tennessee football. You said Tennessee balls and lady balls. My bad.
Yeah, we need to say a prayer for football. But we'll start off with some good news because Tennessee soccer, we the SEC East champs, baby. We got the SEC tournament starting this week on Friday in Orange Beach. So definitely looking forward to watching them do work. I know they're still talking about having an NCAA tournament in April of 2021. There's nothing been finalized about it and what the field will look like. So lots up in the air. It's kind of crazy. I think I'm trying to think of how many automatic bids they said they were going to do. They decreased it a little bit, but I know they're going to shorten the field.
I think it's 48 for soccer.
48, okay. So, but they haven't necessarily solidified a date yet. So it's kind of weird, like you used to, going into your SEC tournament, your conference tournament, and then, preparing for a selection show, going to NCAAs, but then having to wait, for a month, 5 months really is going to be interesting because I know a lot of like the West Coast schools and some of the other conferences that didn't play are looking to start in January, February. So that'll be interesting, especially for the schools in colder climates. I'm like, nope. What? Playing in February?
That's gonna be terrible.
Yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting. So I'm interested to see, but nonetheless, we got a little bit of hardware to bring back to the stadium. So that's what's up. What are we talking about with Lady Ball basketball though?
Well, Maria probably being in Knoxville and being the great writer, editor, author, and everything that her greatness entails, probably be able to give more detail. But I did find out about, as far as like the arena and the games, and there's still no schedule out. Let's put that out there outside of the UConn game for Coach Summit and raising money for that stuff. So we have that scheduled, but that's the only game on schedule. But they are looking to possibly open the arena to like, I think it's, and Maria, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's like less than or equal to 4,000 capacity or close to 18%. And I think that's a good start. Let's say that's a good start. The girls have already been practicing since October 14th. So they've been in the gym. I text Kelly last week. It was an accidental text because I meant to text Kelly Kane because I was coming to Atlanta. Kelly, if you're watching this, Kane, I meant to hit you up, sis, but yesterday was a little crazy. But I just asked her how they were doing and everything. She just said she was feeling confident. Things were looking up. The girls are working hard. They're buying into. We just got to be prepared for anything. Yeah, so that's about it. What I have, Maria. What do you have?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get a ticket if you're not a season ticket holder, but they will hit the secondary market. Last year they had about 8,000 season ticket holders.
Wow.
And what they did was they asked all last year, are you interested in attending in person? And everyone who answered yes, they sent those surveys out, I think in September, early October, is getting an email starting tomorrow that you have 24 hours to answer it. Do you want to attend this season? And you're not going to get your regular season ticket seat because they got to space people out. And once all of those people get answer within the tier, and it'll go by Tennessee Fund donations, then if they have any left, it'll be single ticket sales. Now, some of those season ticket holders may go ahead and say, yeah, I want the tickets, but they may not attend in person. So those tickets could end up on a secondary market. And if we and they made it clear in the news release that if we get to a better point with this virus, which I mean, no one really expects in January, February, but they could raise attendance if that was possible. We do know that East Tennessee State will be in town in early December. I was glad to see it. That's off of East Tennessee State's schedule, not Tennessee's. It's not out yet. I was glad to see a game before going to Texas. You really don't want a team with this many new faces starting on the road at Texas. So they will have a game at home to sort of, figure out how to run out into the court and all those things. Unfortunately, the Florida tournament is off the books. A lot of teams aren't traveling to it. Like Southern Cal was set to be there and play Tennessee. Southern Cal's not traveling. In fact, it was just announced today that Southern Cal's women's basketball team had a COVID contact and the whole team's in quarantine and not practicing. So, and here we are 2 weeks away. So as y'all know, there's nothing about sports that is normal right now, and there's not going to be for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at least they're trying to make strides to get things. Catfish, I know you're in the background, but you mind turning your mic on and giving you a look out, your outtake on Tennessee football over the weekend?
I don't know where to start. I think we got problems everywhere. Billy and I were talking about this today and yesterday. Line of scrimmage, defensive tackles, coaching, there's just problems everywhere. And I just hate it. It seemed like the last 10 years, it seems like this is going to be our year. This is going to be our year. It's going to be our year. And it ain't 2 games in and we're going, all right, maybe we can make a bowl game. And then it ain't long like, well, wait till next year. And that's where we are right now. I doubt we'll probably win one more game. I don't know if we can beat Texas A&M. We can beat Auburn. We can beat, I don't know about Florida, but we can beat we have the team. I don't know where the problem is. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm done getting mad. I'm actually mad that I'm not mad about these losses. 7-8 years ago, I'd been throwing stuff with a performance like this, and now I'm not even mad. I'm just wanting to enjoy. When you have a son that's diagnosed with leukemia, your priorities change.
Right.
I used to be football was everything, live or die. Now there's a lot. You start seeing the world the way it is. You start seeing your son. Things are different, but I still love my Vols. I'm still going to be pulling for them. Still going to be rooting for them. I'm still going to run my mouth before every game and eat crow after the game like a real man. But I don't know. It's just sad. We need something to be happy about, and right now we don't have much. But we got basketball.
We do got basketball to look forward to for sure. And make sure, Bobby, at the end of the show, you let them know more about Sam Strong.
Okay.
And matter of fact, just go ahead and do it now because it does definitely go hand in hand.
Sam Strong, my son's name's Sam, and we raise money. We're working on a 501c3, and especially with COVID, it's kind of put these lawyers behind the 8 ball getting a lot of that stuff done. But we've got several former Billy's teammates and other people in the community going to be on the board. We're raising money, a percentage of every sale of merchandise or advertising or whatever will go into Sam Strong, and 100% of that are going to families who have a child suffering from cancer. I was fortunate enough to have Sam at St. Jude. Great place. I never really knew anything about St. Jude until Sam. And you see them on the commercials. You say, man, I hope that's not my kid. I'm glad it's not my kid. But when it becomes your kid, it's different. Right. And I'm just amazed at that place. Man, they take care of everything. But one of the parents has to be there. And today's society, we're into debt up to our eyeballs, and we've 2-income families. When one parent has to quit, man, the bills are here and the income goes to there. And, mortgages get behind, electric bill gets behind, and we give them 100% of this money is going to go to a family. We've already given money away. And go straight to a family who has a child suffering from leukemia to help them keep the lights on and pay the mortgage bill and whatnot. But 100% of everything we raise will go straight to a family.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Y'all make sure y'all go support Sam Strong and the movement. Going on the volunteerroadshow.com. You can get more information. You can check out the merchandise. Yeah,
We got
definitely.
Georgia merchandise, Alabama, Tennessee, of course, all just about every major athletic program we've got product for on the site.
All right, see, we don't even discriminate. Like y'all can get some. Of course, you gonna have more Tennessee gear, but
Oh yeah.
come on through.
And
Uh,
we do a little voodoo hex when we ship out a Florida hat or something. We give them a little curse. But
Man.
no,
Hey,
we love everybody.
thank you, Bobby. Man, before we switch out, from basketball, Tennessee basketball, I do want to say I was looking up. I don't know if it was on ESPN or what it was. Maria, you probably saw this where they did a newcomer impact rating for the 2021 freshmen or transfers, like impact. So I'm scrolling right, looking for Tennessee. One, nope, five, one, two, three, four, five, no, 10, 10, no, oh, 15. Green, right? Former Big South Player of the Year, of course. I'm excited to see what she's going to bring to the table. But anyway, I keep scrolling. This is like a list of 50. It's all this on there. Like, come on, Tennessee. I don't. Hold on. Let me move aside. It's just I cannot. I'm like Bobby. I can't wait till the days get back to when we have somebody in the top 5. We also have somebody in that next 6 to 10. You also like in the top 25. We have 2, 3, 4 players. I need that to happen because my little heart was broke reading this list. Like, what do you think about that? Either of y'all, man. Like, what do you feel? Because my little heart like really dropped when I saw that whole list.
Maria, you the guru. Go ahead.
Kean Green is she's 6'4". I'm sorry, she's 6'1". So she's an undersized post player, but she's got a Nikki Anasike type attitude about her. So she's going to be hard to keep off the floor. She's also a graduate transfer, so she's got a lot of maturity. She understands the game of basketball. She came from Liberty University, a mid-major, and she gets to a campus like Tennessee, and you can see the backdrop behind Lex and the locker room, and she's so appreciative of what Tennessee has. And I think that's a key part too. As far as other impact freshmen, I think Jordan Walker, the other grad transfer, is going to surprise some people. I think Marta Suarez, the kid from Spain, nobody's heard of her. She's over there. She said, 15 people watched our games. They had to recruit her on Zoom, and I think she's going to surprise some people. So I don't disagree with that list. I understand why Kean Green was the only one on it. I think with 2021 and 2022 recruiting that Kelly's doing, they do another list like that. You're going to start seeing more names.
All right, thank you for easing that up. Like, I'm really
Thank you for talking down, Maria. Thank you.
Marta Suarez, she's just a freshman. You know me, I'm not putting pressure on freshmen. She's never been to the United States in her life. She came to Tennessee by seeing it on Zoom. And here she is, far from home. But that kid, she's got that European basketball mind. And I think she's going to surprise some people. I'm not saying she's going to be all freshman SEC, but I think she's going to help Tennessee a lot more than people may realize.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for talking me off the ledge. I'm just excited. You know how I am. I'm same type of player I was. Like, I expect like instant results. I'm the same in life, which is obviously not real life. I guess I'll sit back and relax and look forward to the season. Now, looking forward to the season, Maria, let's go ahead and drop this big bomb on our Tennessee Vol Nation real quick. I'm going to because you came up with it, I'm going to let you drop the title and tell people what it's about.
Well, Bobby called me, and he talked to you, and he wants Lady Vol show. Lady Vol Sports. You won't hear me rattle on about politics. I'm only going to do that on places like this. And so you don't have to worry about any political talk. I can be a real nice, charitable, fun person. I don't have to talk politics all the time. So Lex and I are going to talk Lady Vol basketball on a regular basis. during the season. And we're going to call it Buck and 2MC, because my name is Maria M. Cornelius, so 2MC. That's going to be the new name of the show. And Bobby's going to set it up here on Volunteer Roadshow. And Orange Mountain Designs has agreed to come in and help. And so you'll have insights from Alexis, which, I mean, if you got player insights, you got great insights, because Alexis will see things on the court that unless you played and have been in that situation, you don't notice them. You don't get it to that level that a former player does. And I'll be the person on the scene. Media are going to be allowed at home games, so I will be there. We'll be in our own little bubble. No player contact whatsoever, of course. So Lex, you can just sort of tell them what kind of insight you expect to bring.
So number one, thank you. I was so excited when I asked Maria, because I know she does a lot, y'all. Whether it's work related, whether it's community work related, like community related. She just does. She's on a lot of different platforms. We were talking earlier. She's literally an admin on like 8 different people's like Facebook websites and stuff like that. So I was excited to hear that she has time to team up with me for the Buck and 2MC show. And what I'm going to bring basically is Alexis Hornbuckle. Like, I'm giving you straight Buck style perspective of what I see, what I don't see, questions that may arise, from coming from a Coach Summit era and now having a former champion as the head coach, like especially a point guard, because I know being a former combo guard and having to play that point position often for Coach, it's you learn quick. You learn things about the game that you really don't expect to get your freshman year. So by the time you graduate, like, your basketball IQ has gone up so far. It's incredible. But if you're not really tuned in and locked in, and college players tend to do this a lot, they zone out, they miss assignments, or in Coach Summit's words, they become mental midgets, and you're only as good as your weakest link. So I'll really be looking for what's the weakest link, how can we get that better, what are we doing great, of course, but also, like, what are we missing? Because it may be so minuscule, like Maria said, it may not be visible to the normal eye, but I'm looking at it from an actual insight, Lady Vol perspective of what our legacy, what Coach Summit's legacy was, what the program's legacy was, and how do we get back to that, with Kelly's own spin on it. So that's really what I'll be bringing in. Yeah, I'll probably get hyped when we're doing well, and y'all gonna hear my mouth when we ate. That's what it is.
I think that's better received from a former player who's been in the trenches. I mean, media members trying to talk about how to coach or how to play, very few have ever been in the trenches of a game and really understand what's going on. And if you don't have, you bring an insight that I can't bring, and then I can bring just the fact that I'm there and have covered the team and history and, access to Kelly and the players. And I think it'll be a nice combination. Lex will bring the heat, and I'll just sit there and, I'll be the one that says, okay, this happened and this happened. All right, Lex, you bring the heat. Explain it all to us.
That's how it's going to be.
I can't even draw up an inbounds play. I mean, I realize that I am not a basketball player. I could maybe get in a stance for about 30 seconds and I'm done. So
to that, 30 seconds is a lot longer than you think in an actual correct stance.
I remember when y'all had to put those towels over your heads and go down the whole length of the court, and I was dying just watching you guys.
Imagine how we felt. Another thing, Maria, like, just kind of touch on like your journalistic background, being an author, your background in the media. I know you said you'll be there, but just in case this is somebody's first time watching the show, just kind of give a little bit of who you are, because you're definitely someone who I admire as a person, but also as a writer. I can always count on you for your honesty and facts and transparency. And if you do happen to make a mistake, or something happens, accountability is always there with you. So that's my piece for Marie, but give them a true background of who you are as a journalist or author and your media background.
I'll go as quick as I can. I moved here in 1988 to work for the New Sentinel. I was an intern. I started out as a police reporter, so I covered police and courts. I ended up covering the Lady Vols for the New Sentinel starting in 1998 when Pat Summitt made the cover of Sports Illustrated. I've talked about it before. I was the one who worked nights. I came in. We had gotten a tip that Pat Summitt was going to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. This was on a Tuesday. The beat reporters weren't even back yet from where they needed to be. This was going to be page one. I walked in. They looked at me. They said, you got to get Pat Summitt on the phone. We have got to get Pat Summitt's quote, because we were getting the story and the cover. We had it exclusive. And this was pre-cell phone. And I was working on the desk at the time, but I was a police reporter. You needed something, you just called people. You called the police chief, the sheriff. You went to the crime scene. You did whatever you needed to do. So I start calling the basketball office. I mean, I knew of Debbie Jennings, but I didn't really think of going through Debbie Jennings. So I kept calling Katie Wynn. I must have called 5 or 6 times. It panicked her so bad that she went and found Pat, who was probably at practice about this time, and said, I don't know what this reporter wants, but you got to call her back, and she won't quit calling me. So Pat is pissed because Pat that likes her schedule this and this and this. And my desk phone rings, and I pick it up, and this voice says, this is Pat Summitt. What can I do for you, Ms. Cornelius? And I'm like, whoa, man, that cover, because y'all seen the cover, Pat looking that fear. I'm like, man, that cover pegged you. But I've sat in a jail cell and interviewed a serial killer. So Pat Summitt being mad at me, I'm like, whatever, you can be mad all you want. And I said, I introduced myself officially and said, we have the latest issue of Sports Illustrated cover. You are going to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And the phone went dead. I'm like, did she hang up? I mean, what? And this really soft voice says, can you repeat that? She had no idea that she was going to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So I repeated it. And of course, I said, I need your reaction to this. And then she went to full Pat mode. This is because a credit to my players and Joan Cronin. And, you know how Pat is. She took no credit for it. But we got the story. We got the picture. I still have the newspaper somewhere. But that is how I officially got to know Pat, was making her mad. And the New Sentinel, that was 1998, 39-0, SI cover, Pat's first book. So the New Sentinel started having me cover the Final Four and do profiles of players. Samika went home with them, spent long weekends with them over the summer, did full profiles, and it just took off from there. And eventually I started doing this as a freelancer all the time. I still have a full-time job. It keeps me going. But I just cannot, covering basketball is my soul. That keeps my soul beating and my heart beating. And I'm not ready to give it up. So I've been at this for a long time, wrote a book about Pat Summitt's final season, called The Final Season, and got to know Alexis, of course, they were that class of 2004. And 2004-05 is when I started covering the team full time, not just spot profiles and things. So I really got to know that class and have just, like I said, it's part of who I am. The rhythms of basketball keep my heart beating. So I want to keep covering it.
So I heard the greatness coming through. Hey, Boog, you got anything else for the people?
No, I'm just, Maria, thank you for coming on. We definitely appreciate you always coming through in the clutch. And you always bring great insight and energy definitely infused to different topics, and we love it. And of course, your love for the Lady Vols is, of course, near and dear to us. But I'm good over on my end.
That's what's up. So my last announcement, just heading out, was I went to Atlanta over the weekend. I was blessed enough to spend a couple of days with Boog, but that's because her soccer got canceled. So I got all of my best friend time in. Anyway, so I was down there for a AAU meeting. I've been approached, Thursday and Friday about people wanting to partner and what do I want to do, kind of put me and my program with their program because they're sponsored by Nike or Under Armour, and we're up and coming. So I go to Atlanta to meet with a club called FBC, which is the finest basketball club based out of Atlanta. I'm sitting in this coaches meeting. Coaches flew in from Oregon, the state of Washington, different parts of North Carolina, Tennessee. Like, I was like, I didn't even know they were that big. You know, coaches driving up from Florida. Of course, I'm driving down from North Carolina. There's teams, coaches from South Carolina. And I'm just listening to the pitch and what they bring to the table. Maria, I can't wait till all of this kind of opens up. I really want you to come meet me at one of my youth basketball events. Number one, to meet the head guy, Coach Mo. But number two, to see how he does things. To me, it's like looking at a male version of Coach Summit. Like, I have a system. It works. We're going to do it this way. Screw you. If you want us to wear your brand, Under Armour, Nike, whatever, this is what's going to go down. And no, we're not going to do your circuit because that's not what I want to do. And I'm like, oh, man, I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. I'm like, I'm in. I'm all in. So I decided to make that decision. I actually got to have the conversation with the guy for the Nike team here and break his heart. But, yeah, so I'll be with FBC. And hopefully the gold standard will be there too, right? Let them know about that book because I brought it back up. He remembered it. We just got to get back in there and refresh that memory and get that done. But let them know about TGS and all that.
Okay, hold on. My computer's about to die.
Oh, of course it is, Book.
Sorry. Got it.
Most times I make those mistakes, not her.
No, it's okay. I had to run a workout before this and I forgot. Okay. No, so prior to the COVID kind of outbreak and going into quarantine, it's actually the weekend before. I was supposed to go and they had started kind of doing some spring workouts with FBC. And I was going to start doing some training with their teams, conditioning, fitness, speed, quickness, and agility. So obviously that kind of got put on hold. And so now obviously people are easing back into obviously basketball, getting things back rolling and so on and so forth. So hopefully doing some work with FBC. So that'd be really dope to obviously be part of FBC. Obviously Lex with North Carolina Reign being part of FBC as well. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, keep praying on it, manifest it. So prayerfully, the gold standard will also be training FBC athletes as well. So could be a really dope situation.
Absolutely. For y'all that don't know that Tennessee is a family thing, you're staring at it right here. We have 4 individuals just completely wrapped up into Tennessee and Vol Nation and Lady Vols, VFL, LVFL. And we somehow always find a way or think of ways to come together and work together. Look, we got pets on deck. Mine will be at Christmas. I got y'all. Y'all can see mine at Christmas.
Even my cat is orange.
I know, right? So, but thank you again, Maria, for hopping on. Thank you, everybody all of our viewers and followers who watched. If you haven't done so already, press the like button, press the thumbs up button, follow us, subscribe. Make sure you check out volunteerroadshow.com, get you some merch. Support Sam Strong, support our movement, support the movement, that Bobby is doing, had done for his son, and now what he's doing for other, families with kids who are with kids who have cancer.
Jupiter could have said that better than you.
Really? I can't stand her, y'all. But that's all I got. Maria, you got anything else before we end up?
I just want to say I love lawyers. That's not a political statement. I love lawyers no matter what side you're fighting on. Everybody says they hate lawyers. I love them. Everybody hates them until they need one.
Right.
But all the lawyers out there, keep your fight. Whatever side you're on, you're a big part of this democracy. And so go do what you do. I've often said if I hadn't been a writer, I'd been a lawyer. And I guess if I want to, I could always go back. But I think
you would actually make a really good lawyer, Maria. For real.
My mama told me you might want to be a lawyer because you like to argue so much. And so apparently I come by it naturally.
Was that your mom that you posted on Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that's your twin. Or you're her twin.
Yeah, she's suffering from Alzheimer's. In fact, I found out while I was writing the PAP book. She doesn't know who we are anymore. I will tell a funny story about her. She loved Obama so much that, she would get fundraising envelopes in the mail, and she cut his photo out of one and put it in a frame with all of her children and other family. I had to pack her house when she went into and so I'm packing the pictures, and I'm like, she got President Obama right here with her kids and her grandchildren, and I set it all back up when I got the pictures to my house, and I said, well, he's gonna stay right here with the family because apparently, he's part of the family now. So, but yeah, I miss my mama. I mean, she's still with us, but anybody who's dealt with Alzheimer's, you know what it's like, and anything we can do to help Pat Summit Foundation and Alzheimer's research, let's do it, because this is a brutal disease, and it hurts every family.
Very brutal, and it's tougher for the family because the individual going through it, it's kind of, they don't really know anymore, so it's tough for the people around you. My grandmother passed away; she had Alzheimer's as well, so it's definitely it's a brutal disease, very brutal. All right, Lex, what else we got?
Lex Pros, man.
Go ahead and close it out.
All right. Well, Maria, once again, we definitely appreciate you. We're definitely looking forward to Buck and 2MC, as well as Lady Vol basketball season. But until then, don't forget, let's support our Lady Vol soccer this week, SEC Championship in Orange Beach, Alabama. Big shout out to our sponsors, Orange Mountain Designs, Terry Holder. Go get some new gear. I know she's dropping new stuff every week, so go cop that, especially getting prepared for our winter sports. Just passing tutoring out of Miami, ACT, SAT, PSAT prep, Hound Dogs of Knoxville, and Tennessee Tap House. And of course, our main man Bobby with Volunteer Roadshow. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for creating this platform for Vols and Lady Vols. Let's fix up.
Y'all better come check us out next Monday, 7 p.m. again. But until then, y'all remember, be unfiltered in your truth.